Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the January 2021 Cumberland County Commissioners Workshop Meeting. If you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance by saying, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I call this meeting to order at 9:05 a.m. and at this time I open up the floor to public comments. Do we have anybody on the line for public comment? Okay. So hearing none and seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 3, and I'll call on Commissioner Eichelberger to present certificates of recognition to both Ron Snow and Stephanie Phillips from our finance department.
Okay. Okay. You can come up.
Yeah.
Keep our masks on.
And then, Commissioner, would you like David to come up as well?
Yes, absolutely.
How are the flags as the center?
Well, no, that's just where they ended up. That's
Yeah.
just when I had a chance to ask you guys why they're in your place.
Alright.
Sorry about that.
I don't just want to read because they're not identical. They're close.
Read them both.
All right, we'll do it individually. We wanted to take a couple of minutes here to really recognize some extraordinary work by some of our people in the finance department over the last few months. Everybody is very familiar with the county's interest and efforts in addressing the COVID-19 situation here, particularly our local economy, and the toll it has taken on our businesses and subsequent workers, citizens of our county. And Cumberland County was tasked with the job of providing relief dollars that were budgeted and appropriated by the federal government and came to us to distribute. And that's an easier job. It's not as easy as it sounds to get that kind of money out the door. But this county government determined that it was a priority and organized itself in order to provide relief as quickly as possible to those governments. And the real credit for that honestly goes to our finance department, because as you might guess, federal dollars come with a lot of requirements and a lot of paperwork. And candidly, they did an extraordinary job as well, not over-bureaucratizing the feds I'm talking about, over-bureaucratizing it and making sure that the money was available for us, and then it fell on us to get that money out the door to our businesses who needed it very quickly. It was our finance department that put the effort together and essentially oversaw that entire extremely important effort. And we have two individuals in particular, Ron Snow and Stephanie Phillips, who did an extraordinary job and just put in incredible hours, and were so dedicated to making this a success that we absolutely had to do something a little special, and I mean little, in comparison to the task they put forward. But they deserve the recognition they're receiving here today and then some. And we're very thankful to them. And I found it very heartening that a number of the businesses who benefited from the CARES Act money did see fit to kind of contact us or departments of our government and to actually extend their thanks. And some wrote very nice notes telling us how much it meant to them. We're not out of the woods on this thing yet. There's still quite a road to go here. And we're going to be calling on our folks probably some more times to continue this effort. And it's a very important effort, but what's been done already is certainly worthy of special note. So we do have certificates of recognition, and I will do these separately. Ron, you in particular here, I want to mention is for the Renew Cumberland project, and that of course was the designation given to our relief and recovery effort. Ron was instrumental in implementing processes to fund county businesses, nonprofit, county government, and municipalities with the $22.9 million of CARES Act monies. Ron created internal measures, controls that made the project run flawlessly. His work with other departments and his colleagues in the finance department was essential for the county to meet the state government deadline, it says timeline, of December 30th, 2020. Board of Commissioners wants to thank Ron for his dedication to the project, making it a success for the county and its residents and business owners presented today. Signed by the three of us. We didn't have a chance to get you a nice frame, but we hope you'll frame it and be proud of it.
Thank you.
We thank you very much for your effort. And we're going to do some photos after a while, but I think that deserves a round of applause. Okay, Steph. The County Board of Commissioners also wants to recognize and commend Stephanie Phillips for consistent attention to detail in the new Cumberland project. Throughout the pandemic, Stephanie was an integral part of the process, ensuring that all entities, like businesses, nonprofits, county government, and municipalities were funded from among the $22.9 million of CARES Act monies. A quiet but mighty voice in the finance department, her exacting work made the process run smoothly and effectively for everyone who worked on the project and the recipients of the funds. The Board of Commissioners would like to thank Stephanie for her dedication to the project, making it a success for the county and its residents and business owners. Presented today, 21st day of January 2021, so the Commissioners. So I present this to you with thanks.
There you go.
And Dana's the boss, so we're gonna let her say a few words.
I have to say, I am amazed and very proud. This probably isn't politically correct, but I feel like a proud mom. Just say it. I have watched them blossom into professionals that amaze me every day. And I'm very proud of them, and I can't wait to see what the future has in store for them, because this was a huge endeavor. And to go off so well is a testament to everybody's dedication. And we would be amiss they were critical to making sure all the pieces got done, but this was really a huge team and a lot of dedication on everybody's part. So, but they made sure nothing got left out, which is important. They put a lot of nights, a lot of weekends, they really gave their lives over to making sure this went well.
Extraordinary amount of dedication, absolutely. So, anybody else want to add anything?
Since I've been at the county, and I've said this more than once, we are fortunate that the majority of our employees are top-notch folks, and you guys certainly fit that mold. Stephanie, I haven't worked really with you too much, but Ron, I've talked to you a lot. And I know when the COVID first hit, I called you about PPE stuff, and I didn't have to wait for an answer. Boom, I got it. And I remember getting a return call from you, Ron, it was after 5 o'clock. And, with information that I had requested. Just a small example of how fortunate we are to have these folks with us. So thank you both.
Well, it is an honor and a pleasure to work with both of you. And I think it's very important for the public to understand that in December, our state legislature wanted to use these funds to plug the state budget. And because of your diligent work, weekends, evenings, constant excellent planning, constant thinking ahead, we didn't have anything left to give back to the state. We got it down to the people of Cumberland County that needed it. It was distributed the way it should have been distributed. So I cannot thank you enough for that.
And thanks to Dana.
Yes.
Yes.
You've sent an excellent team. One of the marks of leadership is who you surround yourself with. And you put together a great group, and you continue to outperform and make the county look good and be good day in and day out. So we can't say enough. So let's do some photos. Okay.
We're gonna have everyone move over this way. Yeah, keep going a little bit
How about we
over.
put Garrett the center? I'm gonna go ahead and move this
Yeah,
a
that'd
little
be-
bit, so.
I'll get it. You want that move? Dan?
Actually, if everyone just takes a step forward and
Okay.
it'll be behind you then anyway, that'll work. Alright, is everyone comfortable with where you're at there? You close enough or far enough? I'm gonna take a couple pictures. Actually, if you could both hold your, thing open. Perfect. Let me get one more. Alright, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Eddie. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So next I'm going to actually call on Dana to discuss resolutions regarding budget adjustments for both 2020 and 2021. We do have the microphone up here. Oh, never mind, we don't have any on the phone yet, just ignore me.
The county relief block grant fund is increasing expenses by $200,000 in 2022. This resolution is for year-end adjustments. This year, we may do more of these than we had in the past because we've been focused on CARES Act. And so this is one area that we kind of weren't looking at as closely. The general fund is increasing revenues and expenses by $7,600,000 in 2021. This resolution is for the Emergency Rental Assistance Grant Program.
All right. Any questions for Dana?
Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item number 5 is contracts and grants, with agenda item 5.1, Roman numeral 1, A through C, consisting of existing contracts, contract extensions, or addendum with no additional cost or increase to the county for children and youth services, drug and alcohol commission, and the treasurer's office. Commissioners, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding these agreements?
No.
Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 5, Roman numeral 2, which consists of new contracts, vendors, services, grants, and contracts with increases or decreases to the county. And give me just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and call Jamie Ryber, who will be discussing the 3 agreements for children and youth.
Hello, Jeannie speaking.
Hi, Jamie. It's Stacy calling from the workshop. Do you have just a minute to discuss the 3 agreements for children?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, so the first one on the list for today is Diacon, and it is an addendum to their contract that we already have with them. And we are adding a independent living group for children that are not in placement, so they don't always get that service as those that are in placement do. And this is actually for them to have a group session versus individual sessions that we have previously added to their contract, so that they're all together and can lean on each other and build relationships through that. The second contract that we have is PA Life Sharing. This is a specific company that we contracted with. It is typically through the mental health system, but we have a specific child that we needed this service for. So we actually are only going to be using it for this one particular child. She is in another placement facility, but requires one-on-one supervision, and the shelter could not provide that, so we contracted with this facility to do that. And then the last one is an addendum to our contract with Family-Centered Services. And this also is the same situation as PA Life Sharing. Prior to us being able to find PA Life Sharing, Family-Centered Services was providing that one-on-one supervision for this particular child. And they are again providing that because PA Life Sharing was not able to continue with that child. So this is for this one particular child again, that we are adding this service. Any questions?
I have none.
Okay. No questions for you, Jamie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, next we're going to hear from both Ben Boyer and Melissa Smith for the next 2 agenda items. Get them on the line.
This is Melissa, may I help you?
Hi, Melissa. It's Stacy from the workshop.
Hi, Stacy.
Hi. So are you covering for Ben, or is Ben there to discuss the addendum?
I dragged him in here with my office, so he's here.
Okay. All right. So Ben, if you would please discuss the addendum for CNRC for us, please.
Yeah, so the addendum is for Maxim Healthcare Services, which is one of our temp agencies. This is an addendum to add some COVID rates that were not in the original contract with them. Their COVID rates are pretty much in line with what some other agencies are charging, so, like I said, just an addendum to the COVID rates. Any questions?
I can't read the contract term, I'm sorry, the copy is very light. I see an expiration date, I just can't see what it is.
Do you have handy there the term?
It looks like June 30 something.
Is it June 30th then?
June 30th of 21.
Okay.
Is that the original date? It'll automatically renew then for a year after that.
Okay.
But that's when this current contract that this addendum goes with runs out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Ben? Okay, so I'll call on Melissa then to discuss the agreement for Claremont and the prison. Melissa?
Hi, we are renewing the contract with Carlisle Area Religious Council for both the prison and the nursing home. The biggest difference here is that we've asked the Religious Council to provide our chaplain on a full-time basis, given the current situation here. She has been very active and very supportive and probably working more hours than what we're paying her for already. So the total contract is $110,776. The full-time for the chaplain for the nursing home is only for the first 6 months. We're gonna do it on a trial basis. The contract for the prisoner goes for the full year.
Any questions for Melissa? Okay. Thank you both.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to call Ryan Simon. He's on a cell phone, so we use a cell phone to do this. Hi Ryan, it's Stacy calling from the workshop.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Thanks for being available by cell phone today. Do you have just a moment to discuss the addendum for drug and alcohol?
Yes, I do. What Deer Run is asking for an increase for their partial at Williamsport. It's a 12%, or it's a $12 a day increase. It's 11%. They last had an increase for this rate in fiscal year 18-19. And we only use the rate, or we only use the service as needed. But, I did have down the last time that we had used the service, but I can't see that.
I think it's chopped up too. This has been a crazy day. If you find that, please, you can just email it to me. I can share it with everyone.
Okay.
Are there any questions for Ryan? Okay. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. A little bit of reprieve from the phones. I'm going to next call on Holly Sherman to discuss the 2 agreements for human resources. Holly?
Good morning, Commissioners. The 2 agreements, the first one, Randstad Services. In the past, we've had a 3-year contract with them, but we are only looking to do a 1-year contract. We would like to explore other temp agencies in the area to see if we can get better rates. The rates here are the same as in the prior contracts, and we are decreasing it by $9,000, and we only use this as needed for clerical and administrative support staff. So this is a 1-year contract. Any questions on that? The other one is for Concentra, and this is primarily used for, and this is a 2-year contract. This is primarily used for pre-employment, specific health screens that are needed at the prison and the nursing home, separate and apart from the rest of the county employees. So for 2 years, we are increasing the contract amount by $1,000, just in anticipation of the volume that we have been seeing in these particular pre-employment testings. Any questions?
Holly, the 13,000 covers 2 years.
That's correct, yes.
Thank you, Holly. Okay, Stoner is joining us to discuss the next agenda item, and then I'm also going to ask him. Hi Kirk, it's Stacy calling from the workshop.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I hope you're doing well today.
It's a stressful start here, but hey, we're recovering.
We are. So if you have a moment, Kirk, could you please discuss the addendum for Liquid Fuels Finance for J. Fulford and Sons?
Sure, so that's for J. Fulker and Sons. They're a contractor for our ramp bridge project, so that's the rehabilitation to our fast covered bridge in the county. I don't have the exact amount in front of me. It's $20-some thousand. As they're working on that project, they're pulling off siding on the bridge. As they do that, they're finding some more damage that needs to be completed. So they pulled some siding off. We saw it. HRG looked at it. We want to have it included in the contract.
Yeah, Kirk, I believe that we discussed the change orders on the last workshop related to this contract addendum, correct?
And we
Yes.
saw pictures of what was
Yes,
spotted, what
yes.
they wanted to replace.
Mm-hmm. Any questions for Kirk on that one? Okay, Kirk, I'm actually going to ask you to jump with us to agenda item 7, which is the Cumberland County Local Match Share Subsidy for CAT for 2021.
Yeah, sure. Commissioners, this is simply a letter that we send to CAT and PEN.educate, and that we budgeted for their local match, for our local match as part of our operational match for calendar year 2021. PEN.dot needs it to release funds that back to CAT.
Any questions for Kirk? And I'm sorry, Kirk, I actually should have covered agenda item 6 first, which is the hazard mitigation plan. If you provide an update on that for us.
Sure. So, Commissioners, you saw the hazard mitigation plan. I sent everyone the link. I'm sure that you've downloaded that, all 600 pages of the plan, and reviewed it. But if you haven't, I can give you a quick overview. We're required through FEMA to develop a plan that identifies all the natural man-made hazards in the county. And we're facing assess our vulnerability to those and assess opportunities to mitigate our vulnerability to those hazards. So we've been doing this plan for quite some time, since around 2000 when the act was passed. We maintain the plan in conjunction with the Department of Public Safety. This year, the planning department took the lead on securing a small grant from FEMA to have some outside assistance complete the plan. But it was largely done with in-house staff, which is the first time we've done this kind of in-house. We had the plan completed, submitted to FEMA. We really got a great letter back from FEMA praising the plan, indicating that it's better than a lot of consultant plans that they saw. So I was really proud of our in-house staff. Steve Hoffman that took the lead on that did a super job. We received approval from FEMA. Now our municipalities have to approve the plan and adopt the plan to be eligible for pre- and post-disaster mitigation funding. It's not a requirement for the county to adopt the plan, but I believe it's a best practice to show that we're committed to preparing a plan and also practicing what we preach and trying to adopt some of the measures and implement what's included in the plan. So that's the quick overview. If anyone has any questions, I know there's a lot there, it's a long plan, but again, it's just an update from 2014. We update it every 5 years, so really not a lot new other than we did it in-house this time versus our outside assistance.
Okay, any questions for Kirk?
Yeah, Kirk, Vince here. Do you have a feel if most of the municipalities are going to vote on this to approve it?
Yes, it's actually had 100% participation every other time we've done this, and we've already had 3 municipalities adopt it, and we just sent out the adoption notices about a week ago.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kirk.
All right, thank you.
Yep, have a good day.
You too.
Okay. All right, so we're going to move back to agenda letter G. I'm going to give Annie Stroud a call.
Hello, this is Annie.
Hi, Annie. It's Stacy calling from the workshop.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, do you have just a moment to discuss the 3 addendums for MHIDV, please?
Certainly.
Excellent.
Yes, we have 3 addendums, 2 for our early intervention staff and then 1 for adult mental health services. The first is Madico Pediatric Therapies, and that's one of our early intervention providers. It does special instruction for hearing and speech therapy. It's an increase of the contract of $10,000. So the contract total is now going to be $15,000. Do you folks have any questions about that particular contract? Okay, the second one is for another early intervention provider, early intervention specialist. It's an increase of $43,143, and that will bring their contract total to $96,323. And the services that they provide for early intervention is nutrition, occupation and physical therapy, speech therapy, and then some other special instructions. And it's because of families who need that level of service and services that have been authorized in the state web-based system. And then the final contract is actually one of our adult mental health providers, and it's an increase of their contract for $393,000, brings their new vision total contract up to $2,650,980. And they provide an array of services. The line item that we're specifically asking for the increase for is for social rehabilitation services. And just as a reminder, because of the delay in the state budget, we only contracted for 6 months of service for social rehab because we were uncertain if our budget would be cut. So this is the amount that the provider has identified that they would need to continue to service. We did ask them to cut this service because they're not able to see people face to face because of the pandemic. They're offering phone support, and then if somebody has, you know, a real need to see somebody face to face, they are able to offer that. But we're doing our best to offer support for adults with mental illness and also try to navigate the difficulties that the pandemic has given. So only a $16,393 increase for that contract. Do you have any questions?
No, I have none.
There's no questions. Andy, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Okay, have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Okay, moving on, John Bittner is also here with us, so we'll move on to, we'll ask him to discuss the grant for vector control.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Anybody need a reprint? So, I don't want to push you over your limit.
I did.
The grant for 21 is 374540 more, and that is attributable to, included in the grant for this year is a new Mesa portable unit that connects to the truck and measures everything that we do in the field with the sprayer that does the adult siding. So basically, all the other numbers are the same as 2020. And then I did leave for you this handout, and this other handout I left for you was actually in the COG report from December. And the only thing I'd point out is on the back page, 2020 collections were down from COVID and about 1/3, and that's attributable to because of COVID, we didn't bring on a part-time intern, so that cut our collections down. So I'll point that out to you. Everything else pretty self-explanatory. That's all. Okay.
Any questions for John?
John, any trends one way or the other regarding mosquitoes, West Nile virus, anything?
Yeah.
It may sound ridiculous, but would COVID have any impact other than your?
No, everything was down statewide because of collections.
Yeah.
I mean, we were one of the few counties that actually we were almost the whole way up to speed. Some of the other counties were like cut their staffs in half, and some of the smaller counties cut back, and then the state actually took a couple of counties, the smaller ones like say Northumberland and a couple of that way, and put them all together under one unit as like a regional thing instead of just one county. The same staff and to keep the limit from COVID, to keep that down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, hope you like the candy.
Yes, thank you so much.
I'll bring it in. I'll bring it in. Gary knows I always have, a show. But I don't have any bugs out there now, so. Thank you.
All right, so we'll move on. We've already covered agenda items 6 and 7, so we'll move on to agenda item 8. And I'll call on Stephanie Williams to discuss the 2021 Farmland Preservation Program funding.
Sure. So it's that time of year again where we're required to certify to the Department of Agriculture how much funding we're contributing to the Farmland Preservation Program. This year the recommendation is roughly $1.1 million, and you can see the breakdown there on the memo and the certification form. How we arrived at that number was largely backing into what would be necessary to meet our goal of preserving 30,000 acres of farmland by the year 2030. We need roughly $900 acres a year to get to that goal. And taking into consideration the private donations we received last year, the contribution that we're going to have from Silver Spring Township for a farm that they partnered with us last year, clean and green penalty funds that we received, as well as some funds from a IPA installment purchase agreement with the Hornbaker that we can claim the interest there. The requirement from the general fund was $850,000, which again all totals up to about 1.1 million. With those county funds, we would expect to receive over $2 million from the Commonwealth in terms of a contribution to the program, which would give us roughly 3.1 million to allocate to farms to the 2021 round, and we will do that in roughly April-May timeframe once the state makes an announcement on officially about state funding. So we're required to submit this form by January 31st. So I would be happy to answer any questions.
Any progress on the effort to recruit other participants, particularly municipalities?
Unfortunately, our last effort with the letter that was mailed out and the outreach meeting we did in the fall did not yield any positive results. We're sort of continuing on an annual basis to do some type of a presentation, and we're always available to come out individually and talk to municipalities and answer questions. Fortunately, Silver Spring remains steadfast in their commitment, and I am anticipating partnering with them on at least one farm this year, and perhaps more. There's potentially up to 3 farms in Silver Spring Township that they would want to partner with us on.
Stephanie, I have a suggestion. All of our communication is going to, at least I think it has, and correct me if I'm wrong, municipal officials, which I don't think they really know how this works. I think what we need to is like in Silver Spring, it was the effort of, not to sound weird, myself and 5 other people who did this. We need to find those kind of people. I'd be willing to go out and talk to groups in various townships to get them interested, because it's a 2-year effort. It really has nothing to do with the elected officials, because they don't decide on whether it gets approved or not. People do. I just want to throw that out there. I don't think it's your responsibility to get these people interested, but there has to be something to get them interested. And I think going to the elected officials ain't going to do it. It's just not, it doesn't get down to that layer, in my opinion. So I would personally volunteer to help if we can set something up with some groups in various areas, just to tell them real, it's not a complex thing to do, but it's time consuming and it takes a hell of a lot of work. But I'm willing to offer to do that.
I'm thinking that one organization, the Cumberland Conservation Collaborative, sort of has the ear of conservation groups around the county, and perhaps I could put that information out to that group, and if there's any takers there that that you may be willing to come out and say, talk to the Yellow Breeches group that's in Lower Allen, or whatever the case may be, but just trying to think of how to capture those interested people to accept your invitation.
South Mountain Partnerships, what piece of Cumberland do they cover? I know they don't cover all of it.
Well, generally all the municipalities along the southern border with Adams County that would have some connection to the South Mountain. But they do provide some outreach and services to almost the whole county. I guess it depends on what you need and you know, what service they might be able to assist. But, I mean, there's certainly another group that shares our mission and our goal when it comes to conservation of land.
And, does Anna Yelp still pretty much direct Central PA Conservancy? I've not
Yes.
heard from her in a while.
Yes, she
She's
does.
anonymous, you know, that I could talk to. Of course, I can do that anytime, but.
Yeah,
We have to get that lower level of interest, you know, because if we stop at the elected officials, it's not going anywhere. It's just not going anywhere. In my
No,
opinion.
I agree. They need to hear from the residents that this is something they
Yeah,
want.
I mean, they need to know about it for sure, but you guys done a great job, but.
Especially, that's exactly what it needs. It needs a champion at a high level to go out and be willing to talk about it from a success standpoint. You're well situated to do that.
Yeah.
I do think there's, you know, a role for staff to,
Oh, yeah.
to take the administrative lead on.
Oh, sure, that part, yeah.
And I would not ignore the elected officials. I think you're gonna need to bring them along as well, so, because they do have, you know, certain interests involving their tax base and such that they're, you're gonna need to win them over, but I think that's the way to go.
Oh, eventually, yes, you're right, with the elected officials, because they have to actually approve the referendum being on the ballot.
Go to the grassroots.
Yeah.
And the grassroots that's already organized is the best place to start.
And the fanatics in Silver Springs, they've already told me they would help, so.
Oh, absolutely.
And I will be happy to be part of it.
Well, and maybe two other quick things to mention too. You know, we continue to have our donation program where private citizens can donate funds. This year, you know, despite everything that happened, we did receive over $3,000, and you know, every little penny helps. The communications office is working to prepare a logo for us, and I think you might have seen a version of that sort of captures the 30,000 acres by 2030. We want to sort of dump that onto all of our materials so that we have something to go out when we want to sort of market that program. And obviously we continue to have our bargain sale program within farmland preservation to be able to take advantage of landowners that may be willing to donate 50, that sounded bad, not take advantage of landowners. The program that landowners can take advantage of, to offer an easement at 50% if they're willing to, you know, go out of ranking order, so we're trying to hit at all avenues to preserve as much farmland as possible.
Any additional questions or comments? Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank
As
you.
always, very informative. Yep, thank you. All right, so next we have Claudia Garner. She's on a cell phone.
This is Claudia.
Hi, Claudia. It's Stacy from the workshop.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Hey, thanks for joining us by phone here. If you would just take a few moments to discuss the donation from Exelon to public safety.
Yep, absolutely. So Public Safety is asking for the board's approval to receive a donation of $5,000 from Exelon Generation Company LLC. This donation is in support and appreciation of public safety support of 3 Mile Island emergency plans, procedures, and preparedness that we do each year. In coordination with the federally evaluated exercise efforts that you're all very familiar with, they generally hold an appreciation event each year, as well as host in-person meetings and trainings, which usually include breakfast and lunch. Since they weren't able to do all those things in person last year, they decided to pass that funding that was allocated for that onto each of the counties. So our portion of that is $5,000, and our plan is to assign that funding to help offset the expense of the new hazardous emergency response vehicle that's currently in production.
Any questions for Claudia?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Claudia.
Absolutely. Have a good day, everyone.
You too.
Good.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number 10. This is an appointment and reappointment recommendations for the Cumberland County Commission for Women. Tammy Daly and Jessica Miller are recommended for appointment by the Commission for 3-year terms effective January 1, 2021 and expiring December 31, 2023. Their applications are in your packet for review. Sherry Cordell Davis, Carolyn Kane, Dana Skravinsky, and Tanya Miller are recommended for reappointment to a second term. All four are interested in continuing to serve on the commission and are very active in the commission. Do you have any questions about the appointment or reappointment recommendations? Okay. All right, we'll move on then to agenda item number 11, and that's Commissioner Liaison report. So Commissioner Eichelberger, I'll start with you.
That's a little bit. Of course, the case meeting was this past week. We were all in attendance, so I don't need to dwell on that. The MHIDV meeting is today. I'm going to be there for the beginning of it, but we do have an executive session this afternoon, which overlaps somewhat, so I'll try to get as much of the information as I can pass along. Last week was the meeting of the Recycling Authority, and a couple of items that Judd mentioned to me. Of course, we have that one board seat since Kevin Plaster is stepping down as the municipal representative. They actually had two individuals who had submitted applications, and at the meeting they did the interviews and the selection. And has Judd been in touch with you yet? Because that has to come to us. Yeah.
I haven't seen anything yet, but I know he's always very good about sending those emails.
Yeah, Barbara Arnold is the name of the
Okay.
individual that we appointed, and was really pleased. The follow-up gentleman is kind of on a standby list because he was an excellent candidate as well, and we certainly could use it. Joseph Gargiulo, he's a member of the Des Moines Borough Council. I do not know this gentleman, but obviously a very public one, so they're going to stay in touch with him as well, probably for future board seat and maybe other roles as well. The household hazardous waste program, of course, one of our more active and certainly popular programs. We're going to go forward with that for 21. They're going to hold 4 events: April, June, August, and September. Final dates are not yet. We have to get that approved by the Commonwealth. They're going to do a pre-registration requirement again. That worked very well. And the fee is going to be 30 cents per pound. I think it was 25 before, I'm not certain. But it's going to be 30 cents per pound charged. And just as submitting the DEP application for registration, but that needs to come to us first for approval, and that will be forthcoming very shortly. And so I'll follow up with him and make sure that that's tracking okay. I think that's everything.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner.
I have a question, Gary. The hazardous material events, is that one more than last year?
Yes, they did 3 last year. It was very popular. The spots sold out well in advance.
Exactly.
So we have the ability to increase our capacity there, and continues to be a good event. We get a lot of good feedback for those. They always do a survey. Great feedback from that good participation.
All right, so Commissioner Braxton, we'll move on to you.
Tuesday night, I attended the Children and Youth Citizens Advisory Committee meeting, and boy, they are really plugging away with getting that advisory committee focused with a good plan, with 3 things that they want to focus on. I know they're still kind of firming those things up, but one of them is definitely reaching out to our delegation for some help with children and youth issues. And I did mention to them that State Representative Cheryl Delosier, who is one of the delegates from Cumberland County, is now heading the Children and Youth Committee at the House. So most certainly we should be able to get some help into Cumberland County from her and from that committee. So I think that that's a positive thing to think about. But I am very impressed with the work that that committee is doing, really impressed. I read the most recent survey from the state when they went through children and youth and reviewed their records. And one of the things that we talked about on Tuesday night is the volume of paperwork that is required for our social workers, for our providers to have to deal with. And when I read the report, I was like, oh my gosh, the paperwork is enormous. And I think a lot of the problems, and there are not a ton of problems in children and youth by any stretch of the imagination in terms of the way we're delivering services. But when I look at things that the state found, it's generally paperwork. Like, you know, you went and visited someone and you forgot to sign the paper, or you forgot to get this done in 30 days. And I think that it is because of the volume of work that they are doing there and how laborious that paperwork is. And it's not really technically, it's not up to date technically. It's not up to date in terms of the way computer systems are used. You know, there's a lot of duplication of effort. There's a lot of handwriting things out. And so certainly there's an opportunity there to really change things to make life easier for the people that work at Children and Youth. And Samantha, I did say that, I did let them know that you would be willing to assist, and they were like, oh, she's already so willing. So I was, you know, that was so nice that they said that. I was so happy to hear that. HEP's coordinating committee will meet in February, and I'm in the process of reaching out to some of our municipalities to make sure that they understand that some of them don't have anything on the tip for the next coming year. So I want to make sure that they're really, really clear that that is what has happened. So I'm in the process of doing that. The LEPC, the Local Emergency Planning Committee, they are anticipating having a SARA summit at the end of the year. They are very hopeful that they will be able to do that. That group, again, is just another group that I am beyond impressed with. Boy, if there is ever any kind of a serious public emergency in Cumberland County, I can't think of a better group to respond. I mean, they're just ready to go with so many things. Planning Commission, we met this morning, and Elizabeth Grant gave a lovely presentation about the Cumberland County Clean Water Action Plan update. And unfortunately, I cannot participate via Zoom because of this fiber optic cable outside of Philadelphia, but I did get to listen in, so I'm always impressed by particularly Elizabeth's work. It is really, she's another really phenomenal Cumberland County employee, and that Planning Commission is doing an excellent, excellent job. Stop Violence Against Women Task Force, I think I talked about that last time. We haven't had a meeting since. The Western COG, of course, I did not make it to. And please use the Cumberland County Library System. The offerings are unbelievable, and I will tell you, they are so grateful for their CARES Act money also. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Bashi. Commissioner DeFilippo.
Thank you. The Ag Preservation Board did not meet in January. They will meet again in February. We had a meeting of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board on January 12th. However, we did not have a quorum. And if you recall, we just reappointed several existing members. We added a new member. The new member was there. But honestly, I was quite disappointed we didn't have a quorum for a board that only meets a handful of times a year. And based on that, I requested that this get scheduled immediately, or as soon as possible. So hopefully I'll have a report next time. Housing and Redevelopment will meet at noon today. I'll be participating. CapCog did meet January 18th. I'd like to just remind everybody the annual dinner is March 15th. I think we're all set up for that. It's at the Radisson in Camp Hill. And also Perry County has joined CapCog as a new associate member, so I'm pretty pleased about that. And a lot of thanks goes to Gary Myers for getting them on board. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner DeFilippo. I would like to report that there were executive sessions held on January 13, 2021 at 2:30 p.m. regarding litigation, January 14, 2021 at 3:30 p.m. regarding personnel, January 19, 2021 at 9 a.m. regarding personnel, and 10:30 a.m. regarding real estate, January 20, 2021 at 9:30 a.m. regarding personnel, and 3 p.m. regarding real estate. Moving on to other business, I would like to ask, I have an action requested item. I do apologize for not clarifying this morning that we had this to discuss. We were a little bit busy this morning, making lots of phone calls. But if you recall, there was an email from Melissa Smith regarding Optum's wish to provide lunch today. And we should get on the record your acceptance of that donation.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, is there any additional business that needs to come before the board today? Okay, hearing none, we are adjourned.